Hi everyone, my name is Jake Berry. I'm of course the host of Studio Jake. Be sure to like this video, share it out, and also ring the little bell because YouTube, those pranksters, they love to just unsubscribe people. But don't unsubscribe today, and be sure to ring that bell today because I have a very special guest, and that is comic book artist and creator Mandy Summers. She's got so many amazing projects happening. She of course is the creator of Wart the Wizard and Super Dead, and also the Pirate Queen. We're going to be talking about projects. So, Mandy, welcome to Studio Jake.
Like what? Hey, Jake, it's great to be here. This is awesome. It's very cool. Very cool.
So, tell me something. You've got all these amazing projects, and now your newest one is Wart the Wizard 2, correct?
That's right. Yeah, that one we just launched on, let's see, I think it was Saturday. We launched that one on Saturday, so it's really new. Yeah, and we're finishing up Super Dead right now with the fulfillment, and then we're going to start doing the fulfillment for Pirate Queen, and then, yeah, then Wart the Wizard fulfillment again. So, yeah, I try to stay busy.
Now tell me, Wart the Wizard. Now, was that your the first one? I mean, was that one of your was that your first Indiegogo campaign, or was that one later?
No, no, that was my first comic book ever. That was the first thing I ever tried to do once I found out about Comicsgate. Yeah, I thought, yeah, I had this story and I think I could do something with it. So I did, and now here we are, four
For
campaigns
for
later.
for those unfamiliar, tell us a little bit about Wart the Wizard, what it's about. And I know it's a fantasy setting, and I don't want to give spoilers, so I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, so it's a fantasy, an all ages fantasy book. It is about about a level one wizard who has no spells. I took a lot of stuff that I had when I was little. I played a lot of like Leisure Suit Larry and like King's Quest and games like that where you had to find items. So I incorporated that into Wart the Wizard because as a wizard, if you played any online games, if you're a wizard and you don't have spells, you die a lot. You don't survive. You're not a very good wizard if you have no spells. So yeah, I decided to do it like that. So he's kind of a goofy little wizard who has to find items and then he adds them to his inventory that I put at the bottom. And then later on, when he would get into a situation, he would pull the items out of his inventory and use them on, for something like a hairbrush that's got princess hair in it, and you can use that to make a string for a bow and stuff like that. So a lot
That's
of
really
that.
cool. And so, what kind of enemies does he face off against?
So yes, the main villain of the book is a level like 20 wizard named Grave Moss, and he is called that because at one time he was this very villainous, powerful, evil wizard. But a long time ago, he kind of died. But in the world I created, there is no true death. Death only means you're going to come back as a zombie or a skeleton, but you
Mm.
don't technically die. So yeah, he came back eventually, and he came back as a skeleton, and he lost his majestic wizard beard. In the world of Brightmoor, a wizard beard, even though Ward doesn't have any spells, he doesn't really care about that. He just wants the beard. He wants
Ah.
people to see him with this majestic beard and give him the respect that he feels he deserves because he's a wizard, right? So so yeah, Grave Moss is after in the first book, Wart finds gets on a quest where he ends up finding an orb. Yeah, and that is one of the most powerful items in the entire realm. So of course, Grave Moss wanted it too. At the very end of the book, you find out that it's not technically an orb; it is actually an egg. So
Ah.
yes, and now so he starts off. Wart the Wizard 2, Portal of Echoes, will start off exactly where the first one left off. Oh, and Grey Moss, the reason he is Grey Moss is after he died, he pulled some moss off of his grave and put it on his face. So now he
Ah.
can make himself a beard so he's not walking around. Like there is a part in the book where one of his lackeys walks in and he's like, "No, don't look at me, fool," and stuff like that because he doesn't have his beard on. So he has to grab his little, moss beard and put it on.
Well, that just sounds fantastic, and you said it's one that kids and adults can enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a parent, so I know the struggle of reading through, Dr. Seuss and Llama Llama Red Pajama and all of those stories every night. So when I wrote this one, I did it with like Shrek and SpongeBob in mind. So there is some adult humor, but your kids aren't gonna. It's not so over the top or dirty that your kids are gonna understand it, but you will, especially if you are a gamer. There is a lot of gaming references, like, Wart goes up to a town and he sees like the little board, the little information board in the town. And that's where he gets his first quest. But on that board is a huge thing for a EverQuest guild. And it's wanting, you got to have Discord and you got to have blood type this and you got to be there every night at 8 and you only get loot tier 3 loot, and it was just this long thing. And there's a point where he actually swaps his costume into a ninja costume to go and ninja loot something off of a fallen bandit. And so you'll get it as an adult if you played a lot of games and if you like a lot of the fantasy stuff like that. But it's still really, really fun for your kids as well.
Now, you don't just do stuff for kids. You've also got stuff, more serious stuff for grown-ups like myself. So
Yes.
you also have Super Dead. Now, with Wart the Wizard, I know you were the writer and also the artist. With Super Dead, you're the creator and also the writer. Did you also do the artwork for that?
Oh goodness, no. Peter Gilmore did the art for that. My art, I'm not technically an artist. I enjoy drawing, but I am nowhere in the caliber of, some of these guys in Comicsgate. So with my Wart the Wizard book, it was, it worked. My art could fit it. It would work for a all ages book like that. For a book like Super Dead, no. I brought in a professional. And got that fantastic gore and everything that I would have. It would have looked kitty-fied if I did it. And so yeah, now it does not look kitty-fied. It looks amazing. So yeah.
Peter Gilmore, he is a fantastic artist.
Yes.
I'm very familiar with his work. He does really great. And so, tell us a little bit about Super Dead. You said you're starting the fulfillment on it. So that obviously another successful campaign. That one I have not purchased my copy yet. That's definitely on my to-do list. But tell us a little bit about Super Dead.
So yeah, Super Dead was an idea that I had, and it changed so much. Originally, it was going to be another all ages book about a cute little zombie that just wanted to help people. Like, he wanted to be a superhero, but he was a zombie. So, like he messed it up, like somebody, oh, my cat's stuck in a tree, and, he'll save him, but he ends up eating the ear off the cat because he's a zombie. So,
Right.
but he wants to help people. Peter was showing me some artwork, and he showed me something, the main character, and it was very in Peter's style, very dark, and I was like, no, I'm changing it. I'm changing the way I'm writing this. We're doing it like this with this art. So it ended up being very, very mature with the content, but it's about a superhero that gave up his life basically to save all of the humans. He crushed a soul stone and he took in the dark energy, and it warped all of his powers and warped his mind to the point to where he is a very zombie-like. He now desires human flesh. He can meld into shadows and use shadows to hop around. He is stronger within shadows. Where at one point his power set would have been more along the line of like Superman. Now it's more dark powers. So he goes into the sewer waiting on a cure, waiting on somebody to be able to help him, the scientist, somebody to, help. He stays down there about 10 years, and something happens which causes him to go back, above ground, where he finds out that he has been replaced, he has been forgotten. And the new hero has shown up. You know, those billboards, the hero you can count on. And they're just acting like he abandoned them when it was absolutely the opposite. The humans abandoned him, not the other way around. And yeah, he loses it. He absolutely loses it. He goes on a complete like power trip. Omega Atlas, the other hero that showed up, the best I could describe him is he's a little bit like the crazy one from The Boys, Homelander. He has
Oh, okay.
so he doesn't really care about the humans. He's not a caring guy. He's a psychopath. He's a psychopathic, superhero. So yeah, you have two superheroes, both trying to kill each other basically. So, and it ends up being a big battle at the end, and yeah, it was very dark, very adult themed, and gory. So yeah.
Well, you've got a sociopathic superhero facing on, and that is going to be quite a thrill ride to read. And tell me a little bit about your writing process. I know for my part, whenever I'm writing novels, I like to start out with the concept and then the character, and then watch the concept evolve. And I'm kind of curious. That's kind of sort of how my process works. So I'm a little, that's it in a nutshell, very, very ground to its finer points. But I'm very curious, like when it comes to your process, how do you start out creating one of these comic book characters?
I start off with the overview, and then I go straight to my storyboard. Then I start working on the details, and then I finally ended up with the dialogue and making sure that the dialogue flows very naturally, so it doesn't feels like you're listening to a conversation as opposed to reading one. So yeah, I overview everything. I kind of get in my head where I'm wanting to go with it. I storyboard that out. I plan everything, and then I start the storyboard.
Since I know a lot of artists do a lot here and there, and I also want to ask you about Pirate Queen, because this is another one that you created and everything put together. And I was looking at some of the sample art that you've been showing on your social media, and I'm very curious, like the process of writing that. Tell us a little bit about Pirate Queen.
Well, that one I did not write the whole thing actually myself. This was Clint Holinsky's IP. He came to me about a year ago and was discussing, would I be interested in doing some of the writing? So I was like, yeah, this book looks amazing. So he sent me what he had. I read it. I got a feel for the characters. I got a feel for what he was going with. And then I wrote another story to add on. So in Pirate Queen, you're going to get my story and Clint's story from his when he originally ran it a couple years back. And Clint's such an amazing artist with Youngblood, G.I. Joe, Justice League. He's done so much, and it has been an absolute blast. But with this one, it was literally like, I just wrote what I felt like I would do, because I feel like Ava, the main character in Pirate Queen, her and I, we could mesh. I understood exactly where he was going with this character, the character's personality, her traits, and it was so easy to just write it. And yeah, she's an amazing character. She's like Han Solo, because she is a space pirate. So it was really fun to write this badass, ballsy girl that's just like, she ain't taking no crap from nobody. And it was fun.
Now, I would like your opinion on this as a comic book creator, because I'm a comic book fan. Like, I'm a novelist, but I've not done any comic books. But I'm very curious about because even for me, like, I have been going to independent creators like you and Ethan Van Sciver and all kinds of people, and going away from sort of the mainstream. Now, Batman will always keep me grounded in DC. Spider-Man will probably always keep me grounded in Marvel. But I find myself being pulled more to indie creators and folks who had comic books in the 90s, and they're repurchasing their creative IPs and they're rebuilding them on these independent platforms. And I'm curious, why do you think, well, I can tell you why as a fan, but I'm asking you as a creator, why do you see fans starting to move more toward the indie side of things in the comic book industry? Because before, indie comics were kind of a niche thing, but they're actually starting to go a little mainstream.
Yeah, they are, which is amazing for, for us. It's so great. I think it's the same reason for you. I've read the mainstream. I read it for years when I was younger, and then I started noticing, crappier writing. I started noticing lazier art. I started, when I saw people go on Twitter and say, hey, why are you doing this to our characters? They call you a Nazi. They tell you, so yeah, and crowdfunding itself is like, it's a whole new experience. You get the bookmarks, you get prints, you get trading cards, you get a connection to the creators. You can actually give them feedback and they will listen to the feedback that is given to them, which makes it a lot different. Everybody that backed my book, there is probably an 80% chance when I scroll through to do fulfillment, I actually know the names that are popping up because I talk to them. I have a relationship with all of these people. So I think that's what it is. It's you feel like you're a part of it. Like, I feel like I'm a part of these books that I back. I watch the streams. I watch them draw pages on the stream. They keep us, up to date on what's going on. And you're a part of the process of making the book, even if you're not on the book. And to me, that is the coolest thing. And I think until Marvel and DC, quit trying to push their agendas and go back to what people loved in the 90s and the 80s that made us fall in love with comics, until they can get back to that, I think India is going to keep growing and keep growing. And yeah, I'm all for it.
And I'm all for it too. Like I said, so many amazing projects have been popping out. And one of the reasons, I follow, for those of you watching, I follow Mandy on Twitter, and she is always highlighting other indie creators. So if you want to get an idea and you're like, hey, I want to jump on someone besides Mandy, or I should say along with Mandy, Mandy is always arting other indie creators. So definitely, I try to do that as well because I'm a huge supporter of indie campaigners. But the people who are doing it know more than the people of us who are just observing. So definitely follow. What's your Twitter handle again?
It's Wart the Wizard.
Oh, there you go. So follow her at Wart the Wizard, and so that way, along with her stuff, check out other indie creators out there as well. And one final question: what else is on the peripheral? I know you've got Wart the Wizard 2 going. Do you have any other projects that you're a part of or that you're launching?
Not at the moment. We are finishing up. I'm going to keep it going to where every time I start fulfilling one, I'm going to be launching one. So, after Pirate Queen is done and Wart the Wizard is starting fulfillment, I will then launch the new one. And I think the next one is probably going to be probably Super Dead 2. And then also Pirate Queen #2, because Clint's ready to, as soon as we get fulfillment done, he'll be ready to start on that one. And I do have another project that is kind of in my head right now, but that I want to add to the books I'm doing. But I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite ready for it. But I'll give you a little hint. You'll be the only one to know so far. Oh. It is going to be another horror book. So nice. I do have a really, I think I have a really interesting idea for another horror book that at some point, I would like to see it to launch around or right before maybe Halloween, just for that feel. So, yeah, fingers crossed I'll be able to, keep up with everything that I'm doing and actually sit down and write this out, because this one is one that I have to start from, scratch. I don't have a notebook where I wrote this one a couple years ago or anything like that, like I did with the Wart The Wizard. This is one that I'm going to literally have to sit down and focus everything into while trying to do everything else. But I think it's going to be a fun one too.
And that sounds fantastic. And Mandy, where can people find you?
So, yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Mandy Summers, and every Friday night I do Comicscape promotion stream where we will be, talking to all of these amazing creators and checking out their projects. And then I do a lot of stuff throughout the week. I open magic cards, play D&D. It's just whenever I have time to do. I'm also over on, Midnight to Edge. We do on Monday nights. So we go and do Toxic Femininity, which is a amazing fun stream where me and three very beautiful ladies all talk about Star Wars and just pop culture, everything pop culture. But yeah, and then you can find me over on Instagram at Wart The Wizard, Mandy Summers. And if you can't remember all of that, just go to stuntmancomics.com, and that is the website that can take you to my Twitter. It can take you directly to my Indiegogo campaigns. I have a few items up for sale that, like my Venom sketch cover that I did, not Venom, Spider-Gwen, what am I saying? My Spider-Gwen sketch cover, and yeah, just all kinds of cool stuff over there. So definitely check that out as well.
And I encourage everyone here on StudioJake, head over there, all those websites out. Also for me, all the links to my socials are in the description, so check me out there. Also head over to my website, studiojakemedia.com, where I talk about comic books, movies, film, television, anime, just pretty much everything that has to do with pop culture. Mandy, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I love talking with a fellow artisan.
No, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. Very, very cool.
And everyone else, I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake.